Well, we just got home yesterday with this pretty snazzy caddy, and we're pretty proud of ourselves because so far, knock on wood, we've made it 0 days without a breakdown. I'm Bobby J. Welcome to my channel, and going a little different route today with this video than the usual. But I got two things that I want to cover in this video. One, show my wife's new ride, 2016 Cadillac Escalade Platinum, and the second thing is just as important, is I want to talk about buyer's market right now. What's going on in the car market, where things are kind of at, and also I want to share with you some of the style or the tips that I can give you on how I personally purchase cars. I'm not saying I got it figured out at all. I'm just wanting to share how I get it done. We're gonna jump into it right now. Okay, now, before we jump into it, I do want to give a small disclaimer, because obviously the Cadillac Escalade vehicles like this have a certain status image and whatnot. Look, I'm not trying to brag, or as you young bucks like to say, flex or whatever. Look, it's a 2016, not a 25 or a 24 or something. It's a 16 Escalade. It does have 144,000 miles, but I think, geez, it's kind of up there in the miles. I want to show how clean this vehicle is, and the reason why I was willing to purchase it with 144,000 miles. And the other thing is the details on what made it, I think, a really solid buy. So now, with that aside, like I said, 2016 Cadillac Escalade. It is the Platinum model. This is the top tier. Believe it or not, if you don't know Escalades, there are multiple levels of the Escalades. And for us Dodge guys, you got your Tradesman, your Bighorn, right up to your Limited or your Limited Longhorn. Okay, this is the top dog. This is, like I said, the Platinum. You got your standard, you got your premium luxury, and then the Platinum being the best. Now, let's go right into it. Why do I have a GM behind me? Well, actually, the reason is because I've always had a soft spot for the Cadillac Escalade. Going back, this will be my third Escalade that I have purchased. I don't know, I've always liked them. And when I was a kid, my first, if you saw back a few videos ago, I sold my K5 Blazer. My very first vehicle when I bought when I was 15 years old was a 1985 Chevrolet K5 Blazer. I did so much stuff to that thing. Wound up, the last was putting in an LQ4 6-liter in it, LS swap, which now that was back when it was still cool, 12, 15 years ago. Now everybody's got that. That's long gone, and I've stuck with the Chevrolet or Cadillac because, the thing is Mopar, where Mopar can't compete with Chevrolet, is in the luxury department. And again, maybe it's shallow, maybe it's showboating, whatever. I just have always liked the Cadillac Escalade. It's like a vehicle that comes with everything. You don't have to mod it, you don't have to dress it up, you don't have to do anything. It's like my Limited 22. I went with the Limited because I wanted everything already in it. I didn't want to have to upgrade this or that. I kind of like that. I like loaded, completely loaded. factory quality, factory warranty. Obviously this is not, that applies more to my 22 Ram, but because this is not under warranty. But the point is you have quality OEM components that the manufacturer should stand by, right? So that's why I've always really dug the Cadillac Escalades. The Grand Wagoneer from Jeep is now at this point really, really nice. But the thing is, two things. The most current model, I don't like the previous ones. It's only the current Wagoneer that I personally like. They're really expensive, a lot more expensive than this. This was a bargain, okay? We're gonna get to what I paid for this. We're gonna get to the details. We're gonna get to that, don't worry. Okay, couldn't afford the Wagoneer. The second thing was, my wife wasn't on board. This is our family vehicle. We actually call this, I call this my wife's vehicle, but this is kind of like, this is our minivan. Because see, my wife and I were cool. Yeah, we're pretty cool. So we don't do the Toyota Sienna, okay, with stow and go seating. We roll around taking the kids to soccer practice in a Cadillac Escalade because, like I said, we're cool. Yeah, this is about showboating, okay? All right, we're being a little, in all seriousness, it's a nice vehicle. That's all there is to it. Yeah, neither one of us want to drive in a minivan. You know, if you're into that, fine. Hey, you don't care, but we do. We're car people. My wife is a car person alongside me, which is so cool. And so we want to roll in a little bit of style, all right? So, back to the Escalade itself. So this is equipped with this is 2016, like I said. It's got the 6.2 all aluminum LS style engine, and it makes 420 horse, 460 foot-pounds. Now, yes, this does, if you're familiar with these vehicles, this does have the 8L90 8-speed automatic. And I originally said, when we were looking for these, we were looking at them, I said, hey, dear, watch for 2018, 19, and 20, since we couldn't afford to get into a 5th gen, which is 21 and newer. That's what the current one you find on the dealer lots, the new ones. Couldn't afford that. I said, hey, like I said, 18 to 20, that has the 10-speed. That's a good transmission. I said, let's stay away from the 15, 16, 17. Well, here's the deal, is this sucker popped up, not even all that far away, really. It's red. We wanted a red one. If you want a silver, black, or white Escalade, you're in business, because there's about 5 million of them everywhere. I want to say, off the assembly line, probably 19 out of 20 Escalades are black, or charcoal silver, or light silver, or that diamond coat white. Those are your 4 colors right there that like 90% of the Escalades are. And then every once in a while, let's kick out a blue one or a red one, all right? I mean, some of those odd colors are super hard to find, because you'd be surprised. I actually had a pretty good little palette of colors to choose from. But because a lot of these, believe it or not, were actually fleet vehicles and registered to corporations and different things, so they ordered black, silver, or white. So, it's a red one. We find it, the price is right. I like everything I see on the Carfax, but it's got the 8-speed. Here's the rundown on the 8-speed. If you don't know, there's a class action lawsuit. I don't think it's gonna get anywhere. In fact, I think it hasn't gotten anywhere. There was a lot of problems with this transmission in the very beginning. And basically it boils down to 2 things that were wrong with it. One is the original fluid that came in these wanted to soak up moisture. Moisture caused clutch slipping and problems. I guess this transmission's sensitive to moisture. It caused a lot of issues. A simple update to a new fluid actually fixed a lot of them for a lot of people. The second thing was there were some issues with the valve body sucking air and causing line pressures to go high and getting a hard 1-2 shift. Now, a replacement transmission should have even just the replacement updated mobile synthetic ATF usually corrects most issues. But if that didn't do it, some of them needed a new torque converter. If that didn't do it, a new complete reman unit today addresses all those issues, and I think it's a fairly solid transmission on if you're on transmission number 2 or whatnot. Now, So back to that, this has 144 miles. It drives like a dream. It shifts perfect. It has had the transmission fluid changed in it to the updated fluid about 40,000 miles ago. And I said, let's roll with it. Let's roll with it. It's red. It's one owner. It's got the rare black on red interior. It's everything we want other than the 8-speed. Let's roll with it. So that's what we chose to do. Now, I'm not going to get into every single little bell and whistle and feature and whatnot, because if you're interested in these vehicles, then there's plenty of stuff out there to look at that. We're going to do a quick little summary. Platinum has a different grille. We got LED headlights. Like I said, passion red. This was really important to us because if you do follow the video or the channel, excuse me, you might know we have a few red vehicles around here. So passion red, very rare color, hard to find. Platinum specific wheels, and then the later Platinums actually had a different wheel that is super ugly. It's hideous. That wheel right there is a sexy wheel. This is, exterior wise, the exact Escalade I personally had always wanted. Even when we bought our 08 Sturgeon, which I'll get to that eventually, this was always the one, like, man, one day, hopefully we can afford this sucker. So, going inside, you've got the power steps. That's standard on the Platinum and the Premium Luxury. Now, here's the thing. This interior, like I said, passion red is a pretty rare color for an Escalade. You can find them if you search across the country, but it's not, you're going to find 20 white ones and 20 black ones before you find one red one. Then on top of that, a lot of the passion red had either the tan interior or then the even uglier one that's like a baseball glove brown orange or whatever. I don't know, forget that interior. So this is a red on black, which is, man, that is our stuff. My wife loves black interior, I love black interior. This is the way to go. These seats, super comfortable. Charging station inside here. This has got a cold box. Haven't even had a chance to try this out yet, but that's pretty cool. We'll probably never use that. And let's see here. We got cooled and heated cup holders. That's pretty darn cool. Probably will never use that. Important stuff. And the interior in this thing, the dash, I think is so sleek and sexy in these. I love how Cadillac, that's the thing. I've always been a fan of Cadillac. The swoopiness of them, the suede, the leather, just, I mean, now all the newer ones, I even like this interior better than the 5th gen because the newer ones and the Grand Wagoneer Jeep, it's just like a screen all the way across here. Just screen. Looks like you're in Circuit City. Just TVs everywhere. Everybody know, remember Circuit City? All digital gauges, which I'm still trying to kind of get used to that. Q system, which again, my wife has been battling with this, with it being a 2016. This thing's really, it's 10 years old because it was manufactured in 15. And so she's kind of fighting, trying to get what she feels is more modern stuff, trying to extract it out of this unit that is basically 8 to 10 year old technology. Of course, sunroof. Back seats are pretty self-explanatory. We got the headrest screens for the kids. I got the middle one right there. We have 3 kids, so that's kind of nice. Got my booster seat for me back here. Yep. And oh yeah, I can't forget that. We got the Platinum specific. Moving to the rear. What's cool about these 4th gen Escalades is that the tail lights come all the way up in Caddy style. I love the new badge. This was like a late 2015 thing, going to the new style Cadillac emblem. Kind of get a good, it's nice. I like that red. It's actually really close to my 22 Ram. But yeah, it's just an all-around nice, super comfortable, very luxurious. For us, no, it's not a 25, it's a 16. We're more than happy with this. Coming from our 08 3rd gen Platinum Escalade, this is such a big upgrade. That's pretty much the rundown on it. And now let's get to the nitty-gritty of the purchase of the vehicle. So now let's talk money. Yeah, let's talk about what I like to do regarding buying vehicles, because I mean, I buy pretty much everything used. My 22 Ram that's in a lot of my videos, which is probably the flagship in this channel. That truck was purchased brand new, but that was also purchased for a reason new. It was during COVID times. I needed a truck. It was the opposite of the way it is right now, right? Everybody that had anything used, it was like treated like gold, and people wanted way too much for stuff, and it financially made sense to buy a new one for a little bit more and have 0 miles and order it the way that I wanted the truck exactly to be spec'd for. So now, flipping that over on its head, we are in an opposite situation. We have high interest rates. We have people, times are still tough. You know, we're working our way the other way. We're not going to get into politics and all that. But we have been in a tough situation, and we are still working our way out of a tough situation. And people don't have a lot of extra spending money right now. Interest rates are hard, so it costs. It's not hard to borrow money, but you're just going to pay a lot for that borrowed money with the interest rates the way they are right now. So what you're seeing is you are seeing a downturn in vehicle purchases, and the dealers don't want to say it, but things are not flying off the shelf right now. So you know what? If you like to wheel and deal like I do, it's game on, buddy. That's right. Now, tip number one I will give is, I'm just going to flat out say it. You stay away from those places that people that don't know how to buy cars, all right? And they admit it, they have no idea what they're doing. They don't know what the tire versus the mirror versus what the headlight even is. CarMax is your home, okay? Go there, find a halfway decent vehicle, pay too much for it, give them some more money for some worthless warranty, and motor your way on home all happy, smiling, grin to grin, knowing you got taken. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. I do not like that place. Fully will say it out loud. I stay away from those places because I'm a wheeler and dealer, and they don't like me, and that's okay. I'm not saying I have any kind. That sounds like I've had some sort of confrontation down there. No, I just, mister, will you throw in a pair of windshield wipers on top of that asking price? No, sir, the price out the door is what it is, and no, sorry, there's no extras. Okay, I'm out of here. That's me. I'm out of there. There's no way. We're going to work some sort of deal. So, tip number 2, okay? Stay away, for the most part, away from the pot lots, okay? That's the little tiny car lots over on the bad side of town. Stay away from those, all right? High interest rates, and the vehicles they are getting the rejects that the bigger dealers, I'll say that CarMax, what they don't want, they throw to auction. They're buying the scraps at the auctions that the bigger dealerships say, that's not good enough for our lot. We don't want it. Toss it to wholesale. Send it to wholesale. Guess who comes along and picks those up? Those little independent dealers that got free pizza and tacos out in front, and come on in, we'll get you financed for 24%. They're the ones buying those reject vehicles. I'm not saying you can't find a gem, okay, in a group of bad apples, all right, but you gotta, if you're gonna go that route, boy, you really make sure you pay attention to the Carfax and where it's been and what it's been through, and look for maybe the reason why they have it. All right, so now tip 3 is where I like to pick up used vehicles. Either private party, okay? Private party is a great place to pick up vehicles. If you know how to look, you know how to inspect a vehicle, you got some mechanical experience under your belt, you can do that. All right, now obviously financing is an issue. You can go get your own financing. Go to credit unions are a great place. Now the problem is you're like me and you're buying older stuff. Okay, credit unions a lot of times won't touch stuff like even as old as 7-8 years. I've even heard. I know like 10 years. No, you're not going to get. So you have to go to specific places that are willing to finance older vehicles or higher mileage vehicles. That can run into an issue, but you can achieve your own financing even with a private party transaction. The other thing I like about private party is what I don't, getting back to CarMax and places like CarMax, is vehicles, especially like this, are treated as tourist attractions. Hot Challengers, hot Camaros, Cadillac Escalades, Lincoln Navigators. People that have Cadillac or hot Challenger taste with dollar store credit and bank accounts want to go open the doors. Let's start it. Oh, let's shut up. Let's start it again. Let's hear it start again. Let's pop the hood. Let's open the door 97 times. And these vehicles are treated like tourist attractions. I don't like that. I hate that. I'm so nitpicky in particular about my equipment across the board, all of my equipment. I don't like things being abused, even just started 15 times a day by the tourists, okay? I hate that. So private party, you're not going to have a vehicle treated as a tourist attraction. And then the other one is moving away from private party, which I really like, is to snag trade-ins, all right? And that's where we're going to arrive at this deal right here, okay? Lexus, Toyota, Chevrolet, Dodge, Jeep, Chrysler, the big dealerships, okay, they get trade-ins all the time. The people come in, obviously, buy a new vehicle and have a trade-in. Okay, so for example, let's say, I don't know, Lexus, all right? Lexus gets, I don't know, let's say a red Cadillac Escalade in on trade, and the person buys a brand new Lexus, okay? And there, this Lexus dealership has this off-brand vehicle. That's important. Off-brand vehicle now sitting on their lot. What do? Wholesale it or put it on their used section? Well, like I said, if it's junk, it's out of here and going to a pot lot, okay? But if it's a pretty nice vehicle, actually, they're going to try to sell it. But again, it's an off-brand. They made their money off of that new Lexus that was sold. They want to just get their money back, maybe make a few bucks off that trade-in and get it out of here, because they are interested in selling Lexus. Jeep is interested in selling Jeeps, right? Okay, so that is a great place to go to get should be a quality vehicle, all right, on the used market, where you can have someone that's willing to wheel and deal. Now, let's get to the money situation, okay? Now, I'm not afraid to bargain, okay? I'm not afraid to go back and forth and do the haggle program, all right? Respectfully. Now, I also, the flip side, I actually say it's respect is important within negotiations. Actually, in fact, I can't reiterate that enough. Respect amongst negotiations is extremely important, especially for guys like me. Okay, if I got something, I got my Cadillac Escalade, my '08 for sale. I think I'm going to put it up for sale for $7,500. If you message me and offer me, you take $4,000 today cash, you're not getting this vehicle. In fact, your new price is $8,500 and you can stuff it. All right. If you want to message me and say, are you negotiable? Yes, I am. You know, it's $6,000, something you'd be interested in. Hey, okay, let's talk. Or if you even say $5,500, it's like, no, I'm not willing to go that. You offer me $3,500, you can shove it. All right. So there's a lot of guys out there that are, especially older guys, all right, we don't tolerate disrespect. So keep that in mind. So on this deal, back to this, okay, the dealership had it marked at $23,998, $24,000. I said, hey, here's the deal. I'm interested, $21,500 out the door. And now, if I would have said $20,000, that would have been an insult. $21,500, we're, you know, that's kind of, we're at, that's like someone offered me $5,500 when I'm asking $7,500 for my '08. We're down there at the bottom, but it's like, hey, it's we can negotiate. It's the start, all right? So from there, they actually lowered the price to $22,998 on the internet during our negotiations. I thought it was kind of interesting. Their strategy. See if they can maybe get someone else to bite. Because like, if they got this offer from this guy, maybe we can get someone else to come in here and grab this thing for $22,500 or $23,000 out the door, right? Hey, they're trying to get as much as they possibly can for the vehicle. I'm trying to buy the vehicle for as cheap as I possibly can, right? So from there, you know, they kind of put me off and let me sit for a day and see what I'm going to do. And I'm like, no, I know how this goes. I'm going to let them also sit for a day on my offer and see what they do. They contacted me. They said, we know we can do 22.5. If you can do 22.5, you can come get it. We know we can do that. I said, no, it's 144,000 miles. I'm firm on 21.5. So the next day, he texts me, the salesman texts me back and says, we'll meet you at 22 and we'll do it. And I said, you know what? I appreciate it. I don't think I'm there. You know, there's a lot of these for sale across the 11 Western, and we'll pick one up someplace. I really appreciate it, but we're pretty sure that we're at 21.5. And so, and a little bit of laughing, ha-ha on his part and mine, and I'll tell you what, and I just did. I said, I'll tell you what, how about me and Mia? Let's split some nickels and dimes. Let's go 21.750. He laughed, I laughed again, and he said, come get it. I said, okay, we're on our way. So that basically puts it with California sales tax at 8.65%, I believe is what it was. Registration, we never even talked about the cost. That's the other thing. We never talked about any of that cost of what the said. Look, this is the out the door, okay? Out the door is what matters, all right? So, but breaking it down, I basically paid somewhere around $19.7, I think, for the vehicle, give or take, depending on what they charge. Some dealers have a dealer charge and crap like that, right? But that's basically where I wound up on this. Is about $19.7, purchase price $21,750 out the door, and I think it's a pretty good deal considering the condition. This is a one owner. It's been local its whole life. It's been garaged its entire life. That's also very important to me personally, is to look for vehicles that have been garaged. For that kind of price, we're basically, if we can get $5,500, $6,000 out of our older 08 Escalade, I'm going to be in this thing for around $15,000, give or take, between 15 and 16. If I'm going to brag or flex about anything, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, it's that I have a nice vehicle like this. This should be pretty reliable, really. For basically, all said and done, about between $15,000 and $16,000. There's the flex right there, to be honest with you. It really is. Because if I drive this for 6 years, the original owner drove this for 9 years. He bought it brand new, okay? They paid basically $100,000 for it, unless they got some Christmas special, okay, with a bow on top of it. All right, year-end deal, they paid $100,000 for this, 101 with sales tax and all that stuff. And basically what he got for trade-in, which was probably $19,000 on this, somewhere in there, it cost him 9 times 9 would be $81,000. This basically cost him $9,000 a year to drive this vehicle, buying it brand new. For us, if we drove it for, we probably won't own it for 9 years, say 6 years, 6 times 5, see 6 times 4 is 24. I'm gonna have to put a little bit of money in it, I'm sure, for you know, different things, brakes, shocks, you know, at the mileage it will require some things that it didn't require in the first 100,000 miles. Basically, I can drive this, or my wife, we will, for about $4,000 a year. Well, slow down there, mathematician, forgetting the fact that after the 6-year run, should be able to recoup about $7,000, give or take, from the sale of the vehicle, which would bring us to approximately $3,000 per year, depending on what repairs have to be done. Cost of ownership, that's where I want to be. And the next person will buy this for $7,500 from me, and they will take it into the grave, I would assume, at that point. And depending on how long they can drive it for, their cost of ownership might even be cheaper per year. But again, now you're really getting into the bargain barrel and at the bottom. We don't want to go there. So anyway, that is the tip and the trick there on how I like to purchase vehicles. Like I said, new car dealers, look at their trade-ins. They want to get rid of the trade-ins. This is the right time to buy. If you want to buy, now is it. Go after them out there. Cash is king right now with the financing situation. You can get financing, but you're going to pay a lot of money for that money. So we're going to go jump in this vehicle and take a cruise. See you on the next one. Appreciate you watching. If you like this video, if I give you any kind of tip, how about even if I just entertain you, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks. Now, what the issue is, about on the third or fourth outing yesterday, she comes home, shuts it off, and the electric fans are still running. Like, huh? Well, it's actually not that big of a deal. It's the temperature sensor. And that, I guess, is what's out. So we got a new one. We're going to throw this in. Hopefully that fixes our issue. And we're back on the road, daddy style. All right, now I've enlisted the help of my friend the clipboard here. Hold that intake out of the way. And there's that LS62 in there. I've never had a whole lot of complaints over an LS, but this is the critter right here. So let's get this out of here, change this sucker, put this thing back together. We're on the road again. All right, here goes. I'm not even gonna drain coolant, anything like that out. We're just gonna pop this sucker out and pop the new one in. Get her sealed right back up. Oh. Could have been worse. Could have been better. But hey, we got it. All right. Let's go. Got it out of the garage. Let's give it a little test run here. I'd say we're GTG.